In tonight's Fox 7 Focus, it has been 1 week since a trove of audio, video, and documents were released, shedding new light on the deadly shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde more than 2 years ago. I spoke to an attorney representing several of the families of the victims and survivors about what's next in their fight for justice. Stephanie, thanks so much for joining us. First thing I want to ask you is, among all these files that were released was some audio, was a 911 call from the uncle of the shooter.
There's something that's happening at Robb's. He's my nephew, man. He's the shooter.
Who's your nephew, sir?
I was wondering maybe he could listen to me, because he does listen to me. Everything I tell him, he does listen to me. Oh my God, please. I mean, don't do nothing stupid. I think he's shooting kids. He has the classroom hostage.
Aside from that audio just being terrifying, what struck you when you heard this 911 call?
Well, John, it's the result of our conversation you and I had last time about the concealment of evidence. And now we have the release of this critical piece of evidence over 2 years after the shooting. And in Texas, there's a 2-year statute of limitations on personal injury and wrongful death claims. And so that was calculated. That is just further traumatizing to the families and the survivors.
And I understand you're now representing the grandmother of the shooter, who herself was shot earlier that day, right?
Yes.
What is her perspective on all this?
She is a victim as well, John, and she was allowing him to stay at her house temporarily because he was kicked out of his mother's home, and he was trying to make his way to San Antonio. So she was being the good grandmother and had no idea that he was buying AR-15s, stockpiling ammunition. Her cheek was blown off, her jaw was blown off, but now she's dealing with the aftermath and the PTSD like all the other victims in this community.
And aside from that 911 call, there's so much audio, video, body dash cam. Is there anything that sticks out to you among all of these files that were released?
When I listen to the body cams and the videos and that sort of thing, it signals to me this is a law enforcement group that really lacked training and lacked confidence and lacked the know-how of how to handle a grave situation like this.
We heard for the first time from the former Uvalde CISD police chief, Pete Arredondo, who of course was fired. He spoke out in an interview.
If you look at the body cam footage, there was no hesitation, and myself and the first handful of officers that went in there and went straight towards the hot zone, as you may call it, and took fire. And then at that point, we worked with what we had.
He says he feels like he's being scapegoated in this. What is your reaction to what he has to say?
I mean, that is certainly possible. He's being scapegoated, but the active shooter training program is very clear that someone must take command, and it's distract, neutralize, kill. So even though they retreated at first, you have to do whatever it takes to get the shooter neutralized, and that wasn't done, and that's evident by 77 minutes passing.
And just kind of looking ahead, I mean, obviously there's a lot that's still up in the air with these legal fights. We talked about Arredondo, but there's another officer, one of his officers, former officers, who's been charged. Do you think there could be other consequences for other law enforcement as we move forward?
There certainly could be. The district attorney of Uvalde is in charge of that investigation. And she has indicted those 2 officers, and those are senior people that were by their responsibility supposed to take command. I think that there could be more indictments. I'm not sure, but the community certainly wants accountability. They want these officers criminally charged. And I'm glad to see that those steps are being taken.
And to that point, you know, where does that kind of fight for justice go from here, from the standpoint of those families?
Well, the challenge in this case is that there is immunity in Texas for police officers and for the school. The case law in Texas doesn't allow many of these cases to go forward. There's going to be a huge uphill battle in court. All the defendants have already, in my cases, filed motions to dismiss. So if we get past motions to dismiss, which will be briefed this fall, and we win, that is a huge, huge victory. But that is not guaranteed.
All right, Stephanie Sherman, attorney representing some of the Uvalde families of victims and survivors. Thanks so much, Stephanie, once again for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Have a great day.